So Matt Rhule, former Carolina Panthers head coach, he was fired, 5 games into the season. And it was only a matter of time before he was going to get a prime head coaching job in college. Now, say what you want about Nebraska. I'm not actually going to disagree with the sentiment that Nebraska is no longer a prime job. But I think, Giulio, you and I can both agree.
$9 million a year. That's a prime job.
That's a prime job. That's the point. You can say whatever you want about their actual chances to get back to winning, but they're gonna pay.
Yeah.
And people are gonna listen to the fact that they're gonna pay. So he's getting $9 million. So he does his introductory press conference, and it's typical Matt Rhule stuff. It's stuff that I find to be very predictable for a guy who has made his career on culture within a college program. You can get really far in college football being a culture guy, because you can be really good at 2 things in college. You can either come up with something, an offense or a scheme that's going to revolutionize stuff that eventually other schools will eventually get around to taking from you, okay? Or you're really freaking good at building a culture, getting top recruits, and going out there and out-talenting them. That's how you win sometimes. So I think Matt Rhule is a culture guy at best in college. But now he's making the rounds on NFL conversations, which I find curious. So he was on with Peter Schrager of Good Morning Football, NFL Network. He has his own podcast, and this is the exchange that Matt Rhule has with Peter Schrager about why things did not work out with the Panthers.
If you could do it all over again, what would be the one thing you would change looking back on it, as obviously it didn't work out with Super Bowl victories or anything like that?
I think I probably would probably taken another job. I mean, I think it's a great place. The wonderful people, but I just
pause. I would have taken another job. Great place, but I would have taken another job. Joe, what was the other job? Because remember, there was another job.
Oh, the Giants.
Could have been the Giants head coach. Never forget, and this context is important, I would have taken another job. Yes, the Giants job. But David Tepper came in and won you over with money at the last minute. You felt really, really wanted. So off you go. He swoops in. He throws money at you. You're going to be the Panthers head coach. How do you think things would have gone in New York for somebody like Matt Rhule?
He would not have gotten to year 3. No, he would not have even started year 3.
That's important. All right, Matt Rhule, continue with Peter Schrager, please.
We talked about, hey, we're going to have a 4-year plan, a 5-year plan. If you tell me, hey, we got a 2-year plan, then I'm going to go sign a bunch of free agents and do it. So, what was a 4-year plan became a 2-year and 5-game plan real quick. And
interesting.
It's not about, hey, it's not, and I'm not angry about it. At the end of the day, I understand. But if it's going to be that quick, then we're going to sign some more free agents.
All right, pause. If it's going to be that quick, buddy, where did you think you were coaching?
There's no 4-year plan in the NFL.
No.
Nowhere.
No.
At most, it's 2 years. At most.
He didn't have the patience, apparently. Dude, Matt, Bubby, you shouldn't have had a 3rd year, but he gave you one. So now we can get into the merits as to why he was given a 3rd year, or why he had an opportunity to get things right in a 3rd year. And it could just be that David Tepper was stubborn and he didn't want to pay a guy to not coach. He's like, look, I gave you all this guaranteed money. We're going to make this freaking thing work. But then even by the time he got to Game 5, it was fairly obvious that this wasn't going to work, so fine, get the hell out of here. And David Tepper ends up saving money because Nebraska's offsetting it with his contract. But you can't go to the NFL thinking you're going to get 4 years. You're not. And again, I would have taken another job. Where do you think you would have been given that amount of time?
Nobody's given you 4 years in the NFL.
In New York?
Yeah, sure. The Giants.
They'll fire you after 1 season in New York.
The biggest problem I have with Matt Rhule in these appearances, well, first of all, the first question, it's not like it ended with the Super Bowl or anything.
That's Peter Schrager, though.
Peter.
That's his thing.
Sir, it didn't even end with not even a 500 season.
Right.
Like, wow, that's an awful question. That's number one. Number two, listen. At some point in the NFL, you have to outcoach somebody.
Yes.
At some point in the NFL, you have to beat the other teams that look like you. Let me remind you, the teams that look like the Carolina Panthers, Matt Rhule went 5-10 against. He went 5-10 against those teams. You could have a 2-year plan. You can have a 4-year plan. Damn, man, you could have a 100-year plan. You go 5-10, that ain't going to get it done ever, period. So your timeline talk is off, and it's not right. You couldn't outcoach anyone, not a single person. So if you can't do that, you're right. You got to go back to culture. Go Big Red. Let's get some corn. Let's be one of us. Maybe, we won't have masks. I can learn about the players. You know what I haven't heard yet? Who's going to call your plays? Because have you learned your lesson? That's why you didn't make it. If you're not going to call your own plays, you better damn well have somebody you trust to call your plays. And I haven't heard yet. Oh, who's it going to be?
Yeah, we don't know yet.
I haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
And it better be somebody you know and not the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Because, I was told. What were you told? Because anyone at LSU could have told you he didn't run practices. And all of those 2-minute drill problems you had, well, he never ran a practice in college. So how are you going to expect him to run a functional practice in the pros?
You mentioned the mask thing, right? That goes back to last week when he was on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network, and he talked about, I wasn't really able to connect with the players, because of COVID and, masks and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, what are you talking about? How many coaches did we talk to during ACC kickoff coming off the pandemic where they talked about how their teams got closer?
They spent more time together.
They spent more time together. They were in a really tough spot. They made decisions together. It was a true learning experience, and teams benefited coming out of COVID. Dave Doran talked about benefiting coming out of COVID. Dave Clawson, who really went through it, the man never saw his family.
Yeah, rented an apartment.
Came through stronger, that built towards the following season. And this guy's talking about, I just couldn't connect man-to-man with other guys because of masks. The guy has never shown accountability. But he's doubling down. He does that with Peter Schrager on his podcast. He goes on with Rich Eisen on Rich Eisen's show, and here is the exchange that's been getting some traction.
What do you think did not work out in Carolina that you thought was going to work out? What was it?
Yeah, I just think and I understand why. I just think that I was hired to do a 4-year kind of a plan. And so I'm a guy that historically in the third year has won. We kind of knew going in, and as I talked to the people there, hey, it might take a little longer just because of, kind of where we were, kind of the end of an era and some great players retiring and moving on. And, to me, if you tell me, hey, I need you to do it in 2 years, then I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to, sign some more free agents. We're going to do some different things. If you ask me to do it in 4 years, and then we're going to build through the draft. And I really like the team. I think, when they've played well on offense and scored points, they've won like they did this past week. It's great to see Sam Darnold go out there and play well. But I think you look at the future of that team. I think it's Derek Brown, Brian Burns, DJ Moore, J.C. Horn. We were building it to, no huge free agent signings, no blockbuster trades to try to get to next year. And
I've heard enough. I've heard no blockbuster trades. What? Dennis, are you sure? Are you pranking us? Did you Baba Booey Rich Eisen?
Yeah, I called it. It was a good prank call by me.
Did you Baba Booey Peter Schrager?
No, that was all legit.
That was legit. Okay. I just wanted to double check. I'm just making sure we know who's doing what here. Nobody. Look, Matt, buddy, look, I know you're online. I know you're very extremely online on Twitter, so I'm going to look at the camera right here. Did you ever stop and think the reason why the building blocks or why the Carolina Panthers have actually looked a little bit better right now under Steve Wilkes is because Steve Wilkes is a better coach than you? Did you ever stop and think the reason why they fired your ass after 5 games is because they understood that these pieces that they probably believe in weren't going to go anywhere because you were the head coach? Did you ever stop and think that? Head coaches preach accountability all the damn time. All the freaking time they preach about accountability. Matt Rhule's going to go into homes and tell parents and tell kids about accountability every single day. What has Matt Rhule shown you in the last week with every single media appearance? Not 1 ounce of accountability. But the guy got how much from Nebraska? How much?
$72 million.
Okay, I'm in the wrong line of work.